What's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you remember the previous video, we installed a Walbro 485 fuel pump in the car and had the fuel pump relay bypass performed in the vehicle. Did everything in a very, what I would consider a professional manner, in that we removed the factory relay and installed our own high current relay while still utilizing most of the factory harness that was needed. We did, however, change the wiring out for a proprietary 12-volt source from the battery. But for today, we will be installing the Drift Motion fuel pressure regulator kit, as well as the fuel damper bypass kit. We got the hoses, which came with the kits, and then we got all the fittings needed for the fuel pressure regulator, because this will flow -6AN in and out of it, which is very nice. So the nice thing about these Aeromotive fuel pressure regulators, this is actually the smaller one. There is a A1000, which is most commonly used in a lot of applications. I actually have one on my Z right now. Obviously you can adjust them. They are rising rate. So for every 1 PSI boost, the fuel pressure will also go up 1 PSI, as long as you give them a vacuum source. And we fully plan on running E85 through this car. I think everything else in the car is pretty much ready to go. We will have to probably tweak the tune a little bit because we will be changing the fuel pressure, because basically you don't need to inject as much fuel at the fuel injectors, because the pressure at the fuel injectors is now up higher than it was previously. Also, for the entire month of November, the Billy Builds with the D web store is 10% off. This is my no worries hooded jacket. This thing is sweet. It is comfy. I enjoy this jacket. I wear this thing everywhere during the winter, even though there's only like a month of it here in Florida. So if you want to get yourself or your significant other something for Christmas, this is a great opportunity. But we got Supra shirts, we got Z shirts. I even have a BRZ shirt on there if you're into that sort of thing. Head on over there, check out the website, get yourself a Black Friday discount. I appreciate every single one of you for watching, and let's get back into this video. With all that said, let's get into this video today. I'm really excited about this because this opens up the door for E85 in the car. I am pumped. We will have all the fuel needed to make 500 plus horsepower. I'm pretty sure the Walbro 485, I made 600 on a single 485 on E85 at about 20 PSI of boost. So I don't see why we can't do that in the Supra, as long as we stick to about 20 to 25 PSI in the end. Obviously, the factory CT26 turbo is not going to be capable of that, but maybe with a little bit of boost lab magic, we'll be able to work out 20 PSI-ish and see what she does. I'm really excited. Let's get into this. Okay, so if I got this right, there is this pipe here which runs off of the fuel pressure damper. You're gonna have to remove it off of right here. We're gonna pop that off, and then this whole pipe should come off. So I have already my fuel damper bypass hose. This is the one with the little funny looking fitting on the end of it. And then this end has a 90-degree fitting where we will fit one of these guys onto it. Okay, so this one here is for the fuel damper bypass. Goes straight into the fuel rail. I believe it's an M12 by 1.25, 1.5. You can look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head. On here. The Drift Motion kit comes with two different fittings that go onto the fuel rail. One is intended for the front, the other one is intended for the rear, so you can mount it, I'm assuming, either or. For now, I'm going to mount mine on the front of this fuel rail, reluctantly, because I'd much rather have it on the back. However, as it stands right now, it's just gonna have to go right here. Just make sure you have the clutch washer as well as the O-ring on this fitting. This one, and just screw on by hand because you don't want to cross thread these guys. Okay, so the fitting I need to get off is unfortunately behind here. So I gotta get this 10 off, which hopefully it's not too rusted. That bracket looks bent already. Should be interesting. Well, that's great. Another bolt down. Wow. Wrench is always the answer. Ugh. Okay, y'all, so it's been about a week now. Unfortunately, I ran into a little bit of an issue with the line that runs from the hard line under the car up to the fuel rail. The factory one is stuck. It's seized. It's pretty much not coming apart. And obviously, it's not something you want to put heat to, being a fuel line. So my options were to either cut it and put a new crimp on it, or replace the entire fuel line with AN line. This car, the factory lines on it are 5/16 of an inch. Will I get a little bit more fuel with this? Yeah, probably. But the biggest thing here is, well, I gotta pull out the old fuel line. It's gonna be a little bit of an extra task. Not something I initially intended on doing here. Funny enough, when I first came to this idea, I was like, I bet I have some fuel line in my toolbox from other projects. Obviously, we have those. And sure enough, I have fuel line in my car. I have just enough fuel line to run from the back of the car up to the front. However, it's short by about 2 feet on both runs that I have. So with that, we ended up just having to order about 20 feet of AN line. It also led me to another point, which was 3D printed fuel line hangers. However, I ran into a little issue because I got this one based off some dimensions I found online, which were for -6 hose, which funny enough, this does fit. And except it was for a Mark 4 Supra, not a Mark 3. I think it'll work quite well. It's quite robust and it'll stand up to the heat quite well. It's the same thing I make my boost control solenoid brackets out of. So we got a lot ahead of us today. I kind of really shot myself in the foot by doing this, but could also make it a little bit easier and make it an overall cleaner setup. All right, so this should be fun. Everything from here back pretty much needs to come off. Some of these bolts are either gonna unbolt really nicely or some of them are gonna freaking snap. All right. Oh, that's not good. All right. And just like that, fuel lines are out of the car. So this was the one that was fighting me. Even with the line wrench and everything, it wasn't breaking free. And if you guys are curious at all, no, I'm not gonna be using this. I did all of this for nothing, unfortunately. And while we wait for the 3D prints to finish up, obviously it's gonna take a little bit of trial and error. I'm gonna have to do some test fitting here and there. Not all of the brackets are actually the same under the car. So I'm gonna have to make slight modifications between them as time goes on. It will probably take a couple days. It won't get finished today, probably not in this video, but you'll at least see one of them in the final product to kind of get an idea. Maybe I'll end up selling them on the website. We'll see. In the meantime, we're just gonna be clamping this down with one of these guys. Pretty straightforward, very simple. It just clamps around and boop, it'll be enough to hold one, maybe two of these lines. And if you guys haven't seen, this is a fuel filter I'm going to be using. It's actually just a generic Summit Racing -6 AN fuel filter. This was actually off of my Nissan when I had it running on like a 600 horsepower setup. And then I bumped it up to a bigger fuel filter, but this is something I just have on hand. And this is what we're going to use. Okay, so we're at the back of the car again. I got to run the second fuel line, and we're kind of going to do the same thing that I did with the first one, where I used this little it's a -6 to 5/16 barb fitting. And yeah, we're basically just gonna plumb this into the original rubber hose coming off the fuel tank. And the whole reasoning that I'm not running -6 off of the fuel pump hanger itself is, well, because I didn't foresee myself doing this, in all honesty. And I'm not pulling the fuel tank back out just to do this, when at this point it's not really needed. But to make everything simpler, and being I already have like most of the stuff already, we're running -6 line up to the front, like I said in the beginning of the video. So much like the other line that I just ran, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. We plugged this 5/16 barb into the original hose coming off the fuel pump hanger, and then it'll be -6 the whole way up to the front. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna go over this. I've got my return line. This is my feed line. They're both 5/16 to -6. This is a female fitting like I showed you before. I'm playing plumber today. Sorry I didn't get any of this on video for you guys. I actually went to record and it just, I don't think it's gonna turn out very well. Well guys, if you weren't sure what the J-pipe was, this is it. If you can see right here, this is the actual hole that everyone's talking about that it's pretty much a huge restriction. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete mine altogether. We're bypassing it. And I don't recommend taking it off because there is a little gasket there. I just went ahead and threw some black RTV on it and we're gonna slap this thing back on. But I figured it'd be good to show you guys what exactly the J-pipe is and what exactly everyone's talking about. Make sure that's tight underneath. We're gonna run it to about right here. Give me another inch or two. There we go. Which, oddly enough, this might work out just perfectly because I put my fuel filter right at the firewall, kind of where the factory fuel line was. So if I am correct in my guesstimations, we're not going to call it a calculation because there was absolutely no calculation involved with this. This should bolt right up and tighten right down. All right, y'all, that's pretty much it. So that worked out way better than I could have hoped up here. I just gotta get all the lines fitted, get everything secured. It's pretty much ran exactly how I want it. I just gotta obviously tighten it all down. So now that all the plumbing is done, I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna go kind of just go over it with you guys in a little bit better detail because I've changed a few things and the way I was going to do it from the get-go along the way. I just want to make sure I got it all covered in this video. So we're going to go over every little detail of the plumbing right now. So we've got the air motive fuel pressure regulator kit, and then I've got it transferring to, I don't know if you can see it down there, my 6AN hose, which runs all the way. This is uninterrupted all the way to the back of the car. So for the feed line, we've still got the drift motion fuel damper bypass hose, which runs down here to my fuel filter, which I now have at the firewall down here. No more fuel filter in the back. I decided to change out the factory fuel filter and run an aftermarket one because I did have one laying around in -6AN. Go figure, right? So now we have to move under the car. And to be honest, the fuel lines aren't 100% hung up how I want them to be because I'm going the extra mile and I'm actually designing my own fuel line brackets. I'm literally 3D printing them as I'm recording this right now. I'm designing, test fitting, redesigning. It's been kind of an all-day thing, and that's part of why this is taking a little bit longer because I just gotta do it along the way. In case you were wondering what I have going on underneath, this is the line that goes up to the fuel rail, comes into my fuel filter right here, -6. I am going to get this off of my gotta make sure this is off of the steering column right there. The steering shaft runs right against that. So we gotta zip tie this out of the way. Then we got the fuel lines running all the way to the back. This is one of my 3D printed brackets. This is for -6AN. Now, I'll probably design another one. I may very well put these up on the website and you guys can purchase your own from me. I can do -6 and probably fit a -8 up in here as well. Let me know what you guys think. If you wanna see these up on the website, I can go ahead and get these up there for you. This one here is a problem child. It is actually on an angle. I'm working on redesigning this one right now. It needs a little bit of help, as you can see. And then this goes all the way to the back, which let's just go back there. But the end goal for this guy is to have one here, one at the angled one, and one, I think it was right here, as well as possibly up in the front. So we'll have at least 3 or 4 of them made. Okay, now that we're at the back, we've got the -6 line terminating right here into my 5/16 rubber hose, 5/16 rubber hose. The big thing here, really, that I would say pay attention to is I did the -6 female to 5/16 hose barb. Okay, so the final look over of the fuel system is done. Everything seems to be tight and ready to go. I'm going to now prime it and check my fuel pressure up here and see if there's any leaks real quick before we go ahead and put the rest of it all back together and obviously drop it on the ground. Now we just turn the key. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen, right? We spray fuel all over the place. It's not like I haven't been covered in fuel. Well, it's like we're at 40 PSI already, right off the bat. That is freaking awesome. I'm just gonna turn it off, turn it back on one more time, let it prime again, make sure the fuel system is ready to go, and then we're in business. It's just a matter of putting the rest of the car back together here. I have an absolute disaster of a garage right now. This is not even cool. Yeah. All right. One more time. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Let me check. Let's check underneath. All right. So now that it's primed, ready to go, just gotta get under the car, check over all my fittings, make sure it's all set, and I'll get right back with you. So in the process of making things a lot more simpler, I went ahead and ordered a idle air control delete block off plate rather. To be honest, it was more of a pain trying to find this gasket when I want it. And I don't feel like waiting an entire week to get it. And this was just easier. I can remove it from the settings in the ECU master. So we're gonna install this and hopefully I can tune it out. We'll see what happens. If not, I still have my idle air control valve I can put right back on. Here we go. All right, so the engine bay is starting to look a little more empty, I think. At least with the injector resistor box gone, I feel like there's less going on over here, especially with the idle air control valve removed. There's definitely less hoses going across the motor, which for me, honestly, that's nicer. The fewer vacuum hoses, the better, because I hate vacuum hoses and I hate unnecessary connectors. So, especially unnecessary crap in the engine bay. With that said, it's cleaned up. It's pretty much ready to go. I'm not gonna start it anymore tonight because I am quite honestly exhausted. So for tonight, I'm gonna hit the hay. I'm gonna come back tomorrow. We're gonna start it up and really fine tune it. What I'll probably end up doing, in all honesty, is a little trick, because your fuel pump is more efficient when you have a lower base pressure. Well, for the most part. Basically, a fuel pump will produce more power and more flow at 43 PSI than it will at 60 PSI. And the reason for that is because they just get more inefficient as they get higher in pressure. So what we're gonna do to combat that is start off with a lower base pressure, which is what the 7M runs on from the factory already. So that way when we're at 12, 14 PSI of boost, the fuel pressure is only at like 50, 54 PSI. See what I'm getting at? Otherwise, if you start off at 45 PSI of base pressure, by the time you get to 15 PSI, your fuel pressure is already at 60 PSI, which is super inefficient at the fuel pump itself. So to get the most out of the fuel pump, we're gonna start off with a lower base fuel pressure. Anyways, I'm gonna hit the hay, and I'll be back here tomorrow. Okay guys, the final product of my fuel line hangers. This is pretty much going to be it. I might make a few little adjustments here and there as time goes on. However, for right now, this is what it's gonna be. This is the primary shape and design of it. It's pretty straightforward, it's very simple, it's very robust. Gonna hold it up nice and tight to the chassis. It's not designed to hang, and it's designed to have a little bit of flex and give should it need to. It's not gonna crack and break on you. The one that I showed you earlier that was angled, this is it. I've had to do a little bit of extra designing with it just to get it to fit around the different shapes of the chassis in that area. We got 2-6, we got the evap line, and we got the brake line that runs to the front. So pretty straightforward. Let's get these in the car and see how well they fit. Okay, just to show you guys the final product of what we have for our fuel line hanger brackets. I've got 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and then that's the 4th one down there. I want to adjust this one a little bit more, but they'll all be up on the website available. It's gonna come in a set of 4. And yeah, I just gotta make a few little adjustments to that final one. If you really want, I'll make another video of the final verdict on all of these. But for right now, I have to finish up this video, and then I'm gonna get back to modifying that one just a little bit. I might actually need to change that bolt out on mine because it broke, and I tried retapping it, and it's just, there's not enough threads there to hold it in tight. So that's gonna need a little bit more work. I did delete most of the fuel line brackets going up over the axle just because it wasn't gonna work anyway. So maybe I'll add another one back there somewhere. If I get enough requests, maybe I'll upgrade it for -8 in the future. It wouldn't be that hard to do, I don't think. So that does it for the fuel line brackets. Let me go ahead and wrap up the car, put it on the ground, and we can start playing around with the tune and adjusting the idle. Okay, so if you've never adjusted the fuel pressure before on one of these regulators, it is very, very easy to do. You adjust it with the car off or at 0 vacuum. So when the car turns on, it has vacuum at idle because you're getting your reference from the intake manifold. You don't want to get your vacuum reference from an intake pipe, a charge pipe, or something, anything other than the intake manifold, essentially. Anyways, what I do is I have an Allen key in the top, and I use this wrench here. I don't even know what size it is, to be honest, but we're just going to turn the key and watch this little dial, and we're going to set it to wherever we want. In my case, I want that to be set at about probably 38 to 40 PSI. So I'm just gonna turn the key and see where it sets. All right. Yeah. All right, that's about 36 to 38 PSI. Let's bring it in a little more. Do one more turn to the right. It should raise it about 1 PSI. A little bit more. All right, that's 40 PSI right there. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so fuel pressure's set. Now let's just start the car and see how she runs. Okay, we got the ECU hooked up. I wanna switch over to my fueling tables. And yeah. Let's start it, see how she runs. Oh, I deleted my idle air control valve. So let's, we need to make some adjustments here. Okay, so the car does start and run, as you can see here. No idle air control valve. It does require a slight bit of throttle input, but idle's pretty good. A little high. I'm gonna have to make quite a few adjustments here. Basically, the tip-in throttle wants to fall off now. So I gotta make an adjustment there, unless there's some sort of boost vacuum leak, which is actually a good possibility. I'll have to take a look at that. Gotta make some changes on the fuel map. It's gonna take a lot of work. So I'm gonna make some adjustments here, and we'll probably follow this up in a second video with the tuning aspect of it, because this is just, it's gonna take a lot longer than I thought as far as getting everything dialed in. Okay, so I guess that's gonna do it for today. We are going to have to dial in the tune in probably a future video, because this is just not, it's not gonna be a quick thing. I have a couple things I need to figure out yet as far as the idle and just basic drivability of it. So with that said, we'll continue on with the drivability and final tuning on this in a later video. I'll probably be turning the boost up as well, since we got a little bit more fuel in the car, and just see what it does. Also, I'll be sure to put the fuel line brackets up on the website very soon, probably within the next couple days of posting this video. I'll get them finalized and up on the website for y'all. So be sure to stay posted on billybuilds.com. If you want to support the channel, be sure to get yourself some gear. I appreciate every single one of you for watching. We'll catch y'all next time. See ya.